All right, let's just dive right in. Every single time we take a bite of food, there's this incredibly fascinating, high-stakes balancing act that kicks off right inside our bodies. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how that system works. And, in doing so, we'll get you completely prepped and totally confident for those upcoming Term 2 Life Sciences exams. Welcome to The Explainer.
So, as your coach today, here's our quick roadmap. We'll start with the goal of homeostasis, meet the glucose regulators, walk through the negative feedback loop, look at what happens when things go wrong, and finish up with some actual Term 2 exam practice.
All right, part 1, the goal of homeostasis, maintaining the body's balance.
So, homeostasis. It's basically an organism's ability to keep its internal conditions perfectly stable no matter what crazy stuff is happening on the outside. Now, why is this absolutely crucial for blood glucose? Well, think about it. If your blood sugar drops too low, your cells literally run out of fuel. They can't function. But if it spikes way too high, water is actually sucked right out of your cells, dehydrating them and you in the process. So homeostasis is the body's desperate, non-stop mission to keep those levels perfectly in check.
Moving on to Section 2, the glucose regulators. Meet the detectives.
Take a look at the pancreas right here, tucked away in the abdomen. It acts as this brilliant endocrine gland. And hidden inside it are these specialized little clusters called the islets of Langerhans. Honestly, they're like biological sensors, constantly sniffing out even the most microscopic shifts in your blood glucose levels.
Depending on what those sensors pick up, the pancreas deploys two main chemical agents, and they have totally opposing jobs. It's kind of like a seesaw, right? On one side, we have insulin. Insulin's job is to stimulate the conversion of excess glucose into stored glycogen, actively bringing your blood sugar down. On the flip side is glucagon. It does the exact opposite. It tells the body to convert that stored glycogen back into glucose to bump your blood sugar up when you're running low. Okay, let's pause for a really crucial mark-saving exam tip here. When a test asks where glycogen is stored, a lot of students just write down the liver and move on. But we want to show absolute expertise. Always tell the examiner it's stored in the liver and the skeletal muscles. Hitting both of those, that is exactly what evaluators are hunting for.
Which brings us to Section 3, the negative feedback loop, the 6-step response. Let's break down how this builds step by step. The key thing to remember is that a detected imbalance always triggers a cascade that opposes that very same imbalance. That's how we get back to normal. First, the imbalance is detected. Second, the control center gets stimulated and decides to act. Third, a chemical message is dispatched to the target organs. Fourth, those organs respond. Fifth, their response directly reverses the initial problem. And boom, step 6, balance is successfully restored. It's a perfect loop.
Picture this totally relatable scenario. You've just eaten a huge meal. As that food digests, your blood glucose naturally spikes way above normal, right? That spike is the imbalance. Instantly, the pancreas gets the memo and secretes insulin directly into your blood. That insulin rushes over to the liver and muscles to stash all that extra glucose away as glycogen.
But what happens when the system fails? Section 4, when things go wrong, breaking the loop.
See, if our internal detective fails to release insulin properly, or, maybe the insulin just doesn't work the way it's supposed to, that beautiful, elegant negative feedback loop is completely broken. And the result? Persistently high blood glucose levels. This is the metabolic disorder we officially call diabetes mellitus.
All right, time for the hot seat. Section 5, Term 2 exam practice. Let's test your knowledge. Take a look at this breakdown. It brilliantly illustrates exactly how examiners are going to test you. Your exam is weighted across 4 cognitive levels. 40% is straight-up recall, 25% is understanding, 20% on application, and 15% on evaluation. So we're going to tackle a few of these right now so you're ready for anything.
Let's kick things off with a foundational knowing science multiple-choice question. The pancreas detects the amount of glucose in the blood. What does it secrete when the glucose level is soaring too high? Is it A, glucose, B, glucagon, C, glycogen, or D, insulin?
Got your answer? It's D, insulin. Remember our seesaw analogy from earlier? Insulin is the specific hormone tasked with grabbing all that excess glucose from your meal and converting it into stored glycogen. It actively drives those high numbers back down to a safe baseline.
Okay, let's step it up a notch. To test your understanding, how does this hormone actually travel around the body to get from the pancreas to its target organs? Is it A, in the bloodstream, B, in nerve cells, C, in the alimentary canal, Or D, in the lymph?
The answer is A, directly in the bloodstream. Because the pancreas is functioning here as an endocrine gland, it doesn't bother with ducts. It just drops the hormone straight into your circulating blood so it can reach the liver and muscles as fast as humanly possible.
Next up, a rapid-fire terminology question. Give the exact biological term for the metabolic disorder that occurs when insulin is not released or just doesn't function properly. What's it called?
The answer is diabetes mellitus. And listen, you have to write out diabetes mellitus entirely to secure those marks on your exam. If you just write diabetes, you might not get full credit depending on the examiner, so be precise.
Finally, let's tackle a true, applying scientific knowledge question. This flowchart shows the homeostatic control of glucose levels. It's kind of like a giant puzzle. Based on the loops going up and down from the normal level, can you decode what belongs in labels 1 through 6?
All right, let's map it out. Following the arrows perfectly tracks our negative feedback loop. Up top, an increase in glucose causes the pancreas to release number 1, insulin, which converts glucose to number 2, glycogen, which number 3 decreases the level back to normal. Now on the bottom, if the level number 4 decreases, the number 5, pancreas, releases glucagon, converting glycogen to number 6, glucose, pulling the level right back up. Honestly, master this chart and you've completely mastered the topic.
So you've totally mastered the mechanics of this incredible biological system now. But I want to leave you with one final real-world thought to ponder. If our bodies evolved over millennia to maintain this delicate balance so efficiently, how might the constant bombardment of highly processed, sugary modern diets impact the long-term effectiveness of our internal detectives? Definitely some food for thought. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep reviewing those notes and absolutely crush those exams.